What if you don't need to live in pain and suffering? What if you could give up your karma and have a life of abundance and joy? What if you could start creating magic and miracles that you never thought were possible? Get ready to listen, share, and experience the magic that is you. Now, here's the host of Creating Abundance with Ease radio show, Dr. Helen Gitlevich.
Welcome, I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease, and today our show is Lies We Tell Ourselves. And before I go to the show, I would like to introduce myself for people who are new to my show. If your first time, I'm a medical doctor who quit medicine quite a while ago, and now I'm teaching classes around the world, energetic transformation of the body, energetic transformation of the mind, and changing people's lives with the techniques of access consciousness, Akashic Records, and many, many more. So our show today about lies we tell ourselves. How many of you heard all your life that we need to tell the truth, nothing but the truth? And how many of you think of yourself as honest and trustful people? Guess what? We are all liars, 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 pants on fire. So let's talk and see how many lies you think and say during the day, and just think of a day. And I'm not talking about lying to others intentionally. I'm talking about unintentional. I'm talking about judgments. Number one, every judgment is a lie. This is actually probably the first show I was preparing myself for about 15 minutes. I was searching internet to see about what the meaning of lies. And I encountered an article from Near and Far newsletter, and it's actually spelled NIR and near and far, FAR. So I guess it's a person's name. But anyway, I found out that there is 4 types of liars. Let's see which one do you belong to. People who are deceitful. Deceitful liars are those who lie about facts. And not necessarily they lie cognitively. It can be like a subconscious lie, because facts neutral, but our judgments, our points of view are just what they are, points of view and lies. They are duplicitous lies or liars, those who lie about value, their value or other people's values. Oh, he's so truthful, or he is faithful, or I'm so good at that, especially going to the interviews. When we go to the for the job interviews, when we are going for interviews for the date, because think about it, dates, not the one that you eat, but date that you go meet somebody, you're presenting yourself in much better light. So exaggeration is still a lie. That's duplicitous. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but it's about lying about value. Delusional. I love that. Delusional liars are those who lie to themselves about facts. And that's actually interesting, because a lot of times in our lives, we look at the fact from the past, and it might not be what actually happened. It might be our point of view, because we look at everything through our kind of like glasses of judgment, glasses of or prism of our experiences, and not necessarily clear vision. Mostly we look through the pinhole vision of the judgments that we encounter, that we bought, that we incorporated or created for ourselves. So that's where the delusional lies and delusional liars come from, where we don't see what's in front of us a lot of times. Last week I was talking about, it was show in Russian, and I was talking about a joke that I heard in one of the lectures years and years ago. I think it was Rabbi Gitlevich who told that story or anecdote. A young couple was kind of like living together. Not sure, I think they were married. And so the young husband was watching TV, was very much into either sport or movie, whatever it was. And his wife came into the room and the door squeaked. And he turns around and and she said something. He didn't even hear what she said through the TV, but the door squeaked. So he told her, please don't squeak. And immediately she went into rage because her father would tell her mother, don't squeak, when she was complaining or when she would say something. So the fact is neutral, but her reaction was to the delusional fact that he was talking about, that she was squeaking as far as talking, not the door squeaking. And the poor guy didn't even understand why she was so mad. He's like, what just happened? I just said, don't squeak. The door squeaked. And it was just an interesting illustration about the delusional lies and delusional liars. It's how we experience the world that creates those lies. We might not even tell the person who said something that we experienced it in a different way that it was presented. People have no idea what we actually hear or see when we are with them, because they look through different glasses, through different experience. It's about being congruent with energy, but we are not. A lot of times we are not. We all grew up in different environments, different cultures, different ethnic background, different, even the same background as far as one family. Two kids are not the same. The younger will experience the life different than the older one. The middle one will be totally different than the younger one, and so on and so forth. We are all delusional liars. And the last but not least is demoralized liars, are those who lie to themselves. How many of you, including me, are constantly judging ourselves? Oh, you're stupid, or you're this, or you're that, you did this, you did that. Not only this is delusional, but it's also demoralizing. So with those 4 types of lies, it's no wonder that we are literally, like a lot of people are in depression right now. because those lies demoralizing. They're not allowing us to be all of us, because every single judgment is a lie. Every single judgment is creating something where we're not receiving energy. We cannot see beyond that, so we cannot move beyond that. We cannot even get out of that box that we created with those lies, the demoralizing lies. And majority of them not even ours. We picked it up when we were growing up, we picked it up energetically, we picked up from our parents, maybe 2 seconds ago from TV. Maybe you caught it through the airways. And I'm not talking about Wi-Fi, because our bodies are literally antennas for thoughts, feelings, and emotions. We are in a constant Wi-Fi, and I'm making air quotes, mode or cellular mode, because we pick up signals from all over. And if you're very aware, like a lot of us, and especially people who are watching or listening to this show, we are very aware. We are SpongeBobs of the universe for feelings, thoughts, and emotions. And in a lot of shows, and if you're new to my show, please go to archive and listen to, because I think I have over 150 shows by now. I've been doing it for a few years, and just allow yourself to realize that a lot of it is not yours. 99.99% might not be yours. So one of the major tools of access is who does it belong to. We even have an app on the phone. It's on Android, it's on iOS system, it's on probably Google phone. Just check it out. It's who does it belong to, Access Consciousness. And so let's play with it right now. Just doesn't matter if you know, if you have thoughts, feelings, and emotions right now, but ask, who does that belong to? And who does this belong to? Or what does this belong to? Because a lot of thoughts, feelings, and emotions belong to Earth. And we'll talk about that after the break, because it's time for our first break in the show. And when we'll return, we'll talk more about lies we tell ourselves, lies we pick up from other people. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich, on Inspired Choices Network. We'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease on Inspired Choices Network. And today our show topic is lies we tell ourselves. And by the way, you can listen to this show on so many platforms, like 250 audio and 50 video channels on cable, TV channels on cable, Binge TV, Spotify, etc. And you can always catch me live on Wednesdays at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time or 12 o'clock Eastern. You can contact me so many social media. I couldn't think of the word. It's Wednesday, hump day as we call it in America, which is kind of like you have half a week over. Or at least work week, but doesn't have to. You can enjoy every single day. So what stops us? Guess what? It's the lies we tell ourselves. And if you missed the first part, I was talking about 4 types of liars, which is deceitful, duplicitous, delusional, and demoralized. I'd like to spend more time on demoralized because that's the liars who lie to themselves about their value. And it doesn't matter if you lie to yourself about good value or bad value. By the way, there is no good or bad. But if you kind of think of yourself as somebody more or less than you are, if you have a big ego. And usually people who think of themselves as great, they usually talk about it, that they're great. Subconsciously, they're still lying to themselves and think they're big liars, that they're much smaller and they are not as great. And so there is that catch-22. They would like to be greater, and yet they judge themselves that they're not. So it's pull and push. I don't know if you've seen a cartoon. In America, there is a pull-push character in the cartoon. It's half cat, I think, half dog, and they pull in different direction and they push in different direction, and they don't move. How many of you are actually stuck in that pull-push position where you would like to be great and actually you are, but you judge yourself that you're not? So all those judgments, stopping yourself from being all of you. In Access Consciousness, we have what's called the clearing statement. And it has changed recently. And it's a vibrational phrase that clears stuff. And in the first part, we talked about who does it belong to as a tool of access. And you can use that with any lies that you have because majority of them are not yours. Or you can just say a clearing statement. And that's a weird phrase. If you've never heard it, it's right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 9 shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. And you can actually go to the website, theclearingstatement.com, and we have a new video there with co-founder co-founder of Access Consciousness, Dr. Dane here, and Simone Melis's. They talk about the new clearing statement, and it explains a lot how it works, what it does. For my podcast, you can go into early shows where I explain that as well. But for now, just know that it just clears, and you don't have to remember the whole thing. It's Pak and Pat, point of creation, point of destruction, can work as well. So whenever you kind of like hear yourself or catch yourself saying any judgment about you, good or bad, just ask to Pak and Pat all of that. Because those are the ones, good or bad, stops the flow of energy. Think of judgment or lies as a wall. We all consist of energy. Energy moves freely. Think of air. That's a space. When you put a wall in a space, one wall, the air doesn't move through the wall. Energy, certain energy still might, like sound waves to a certain extent, or radiation can move through the walls. Put the second wall, or make a room or a box, and the energy doesn't move. It was funny. I'm in the library right now because there is a remodeling going on in my house, and it's extremely noisy, extremely dusty. So I left and went into a library, but to protect other people from the noise that I'm making. Again, judgments, podcast, I rented the room. It's enclosed with the walls and three walls and a glass wall or glass door. I ended up in a room that's next door, kind of room C. And as soon as I closed the door, it got stuffy. The air wasn't moving. The air conditioner was not working. So I'm like, oh, wait, it's not moving. Nothing moves there. And how many of you, your lives are like that room where there is no airflow and it's stuffy, it's not changing, it's staying stagnant? You have a choice. There are multiple choices, actually. There are infinite possibilities. You can open the door. You can break the walls. You can change the room. You can walk out of your room. And some people are afraid of death. Like, what I mean by stepping out of your life basically is one of the choices is death. What if it's not a wrongness for some people? Doesn't mean you have to choose it. But a lot of us, when somebody close to us choosing to die, and that's one of the lies, that death is the end. For a lot of people, death, it might be just the beginning. They might be reborn, or they have their lives as disembodied spirit instead of embodied spirit. So how many lies we bought throughout thousands of years of reincarnation? The karma is probably one of the biggest lies, because karma is connected to the judgments. Every judgment we have about ourselves created more karma. If we judge ourselves evil, bad, we have to be reborn to pay for our sins, to kind of like make amends to people we hurt. What if it's just a choice? Because can you actually make amends to somebody that you hurt or killed? Or you can just start fresh and say, hi, I'm a new soul. Or I'm soul that's been reborn, or being that's been reborn. I'm just space. And what am I going to choose now? instead of I have to make amends to this one, this one, this one. How many thousands and millions of people do we have to make amends? And can you actually make amends in your life, in one life? Maybe to a few. And even then, how often do we make amends and then create something else? Even this lifetime, if you don't believe in reincarnation, let's say with somebody close to you, let's say you hurt their feelings and then you say, I'm sorry. Does it actually change it? No. And hurt somebody is actually one of the biggest lies. Can we hurt anybody? Emotionally, physically? Well, physically we probably can, by hitting them or doing something, but we're hurting the body. Emotionally, usually people, and again, it's a choice of the person, because a lot of time that hurt comes from, again, the past experience, the judgment. In the first part, I was talking about the story when the husband said, don't squeak. It's kind of like hurt that person where he didn't mean to hurt her. He was just talking about the door. But it's translated in her head through the judgment that she had as he hurt me. How often we have no idea that we hurt somebody. We found out maybe a few minutes later or maybe a year later. They say, oh, you hurt me then and then. And you're like, what? When? How? But that's kind of like we live in that reality of the walls and separations, where a lot of time the energy is not moving, there is a lot of stagnation. And when we even open the door, it already creates a movement of fresh air. And by the door, I mean even asking, who does this belong to? A lot of times allows those judgments to move, and there is a little bit of energy flow. The other one is allowance, and we'll talk more about allowance after our second break, because it's time for our second break of the show. Time flies, as we know it, especially when it's fun. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease, with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Inspired Choices Network. And we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Magic and abundance are everywhere. What if you could tap into abundance and start creating your life with complete and total ease? Working with Dr. Helen Gitlevich will give you exactly that, total ease in creating abundance in your life. Dr. Gitlevich creates classes all over the world, both in person and online. She works with you to create abundance with your money, with your body, with your relationships, with all areas of your life with total ease. Connect with Dr. Helen Gitlevich at creatingabundancewithease.com. Her contribution in your world will be a noticeable gift in a very short period of time.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease on Inspired Choices Network. And today our show topic is lies we tell ourselves. In the first two parts, we were talking about, like the first one, we broke down lies into four categories: deceitful, duplicitous, delusional, and demoralizing. In the second part, we were talking about the demoralizing lies, which is judgment of ourselves. And now, and we were talking about who doesn't belong to or clearing statement. And now let's talk about allowance. Because we lie. People lie. I mean, that's totally normal. And every day, when we judge, we lie. When we say something that we perceive, like when we have a point of view, we lie. Because each point of view is just a point of view. But if we insist that that's the truth, guess what? It's a lie. The only time when it's true is when we feel expanding and light. And by the way, that's another tool to separate lies and truth. If you feel expanding and light, and whenever somebody or you say something and it's amazing, you feel great when you hear it, that's the truth. Anytime when you have the contraction and heaviness and it's like, that's a lie. And how often, and I'm saying even during the day, or let's say we take last hour, how often did you feel light, except maybe during the show, because we were doing a lot of clearing and letting go of the lies. But before the show, because I feel lighter when I do the show, because we talk about the energy moving and clearing. So whenever we clear, it gets lighter. At least for me. For you, it might be heavy, and if you feel heavy when you listen to me, it means I'm lying. And that's okay. I lie. I acknowledge I'm a big fat liar. And by the way, there is a movie with that name. I love that movie, Big Fat Liar. It allows people, I guess, lies are what connects people. A lot of times that connection, the judgments, we like the same thing, we choose, so we are the same or we are alike. It's the biggest lie, because each one of us is unique. So if we, okay, let's kind of like backtrack, because I went on total tangent, I know. And I'm not apologizing, because that's what the show is all about, just having fun. I'm not going to make a perfect show, just what is. So let's look at light and heavy. The truth will always make you feel light, and the heaviness is always a lie. So let's start with the truth. The easiest way to kind of like experience the truth is when you either hold a baby, the newborn, or a few weeks old, or kind of like before they start lying. And the other one is in nature, where when we are in the woods, in the jungle. I just talked to my daughter who is in Costa Rica right now in the middle of the jungle, and she sent me a movie, and oh my God, even watching that movie, watching that nature, it's so expanding, so light. So just imagine yourself either wherever you feel comfortable in the nature, maybe by the ocean, by the lake, where there are no people. Please don't bring people in because people lie. And just be with that energy. Just be with that lightness and expansion. Nice, right? I like it. Okay, erase that. And let's remember a moment when somebody lied to you. And you know they lied, betrayed, like you feel betrayed, upset. Yikes. Okay, let's start with who does this belong to? That upset and that heaviness and that lie. Who the fuck does that belong to? Might be even more appropriate question. According to Dr. Dane, the co-founder of Access Consciousness. And let's return it back to sender with full consciousness attached. And you don't have to know where, you don't have to know who does this belong to. Just ask the universe, the divine, call it whatever you want, will know. You feel lighter, more space? Yeah. And that's the easiest way to get rid of lies, because 99% of lies are not ours, especially demoralizing lies, delusional lies. All of them are not ours. Okay, maybe not all, maybe 1% belongs to you. If you want 100% to belong to you, of course, take it. I'm not going to argue with you. If you want to have all of the lies, please be my guest. But what if you actually give up the lies? At least the ones that don't belong to you. How much easier and lighter your life would be, your body would be. I like the energy right now on the show. This feels so wonderful. Because we actually sent, well, maybe 99% of lies back and dealing with only what we like to keep. But what if we actually let go even the lies that we like to keep? Because do you actually desire to keep the lies? Do you like to be that delusional or demoralized person? I don't. Okay, you're asking, give an example. Well, let's say people are saying they're committed to working hard or telling the truth or keeping the promises. Yeah, right. How many people do that? I actually learned in Judaism, you don't do promises because it means you're already lying. Because in case if you cannot keep the promise, because there are things that prevents us from keeping promises. Life happens. Seriously, life happens. It's so funny, but even in the last few days, maybe because of remodeling, maybe because my choices, I would choose something and then it's like, oops, not happening. Oops, not happening. And it's okay. Allowance. We started with that, this segment of the show. Allowance. What if we be an allowance of ourselves and others without judgment? And by the way, allowance is not being a doormat. It's not acceptance. Allowance of people's lies, it's just like knowing, yep, they will lie. And if they tell the truth, that's a nice surprise. Just always be aware. Allowance is about being aware of people lying. And I could see people lie to me, and I said, okay, thank you. It's because if I went into argument trying to prove them wrong, what would happen? They would feel bad that I caught them in a lie. And they would yell and scream and trying to prove how right they were. I would get upset and I would lose the worker. This way, they know they lie. They kind of know that I know, but it's just what is. So they were more willing to come and do what they needed to do without me yelling and screaming and them yelling and screaming and getting into argument, being upset and trying to prove how right I am or how right they are. And guess what? Being right is the biggest lie. And we are going on our third and last break of the show. And you've been listening to Creating Abundance with Ease with myself, Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Inspired Choices Network. And we'll be right back.
Many of us live our lives based on karma, on the past, and all the unfinished business in our lives. What would you choose if you did not have karma, or if you could choose what you desired instead? By tuning into Creating Abundance with Ease radio show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich, you'll receive tools and inspiration you can use to create the abundance in your life. You are an infinite being with infinite choices. Are you ready to have ease with creating abundance? Listen for Creating Abundance with Ease radio show every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
This is the Creating Abundance with Ease show with Dr. Helen Gitlevich. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to helen.g@att.net. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. I'm Dr. Helen Gitlevich on Creating Abundance with Ease on Inspired Choices Network. And today our show topic is lies we tell ourselves. And we were talking about different types of lies. We were talking about lies we tell ourselves basically are the judgment and being an allowance of our lies, other people's lies, and not buying other people's lies. So what if the truth is not as important? Years ago, people asked me, do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? And proving the truth, and I do air quotes, is actually what it means. It's you're trying to prove that you're right and they're wrong. And the facts are just facts, they're neutral. Even if people telling out lie, like outright lie, wow, I can't even speak. So what? You don't have to catch them in a lie. You don't have to prove them wrong. You don't have to stick them in their shit. Because if you're going to stick them in their shit, guess who is going to smell it? Yeah. We're the ones smelling it. And we are the one also getting dirty and having the shit all over us, because it's kind of like flies all over when you stick somebody. Because you know how you teach cat or a dog, like house break or house train them, you stick their nose in their poop and they wiggle around, and a lot of times they don't get dirty. Your hands get dirty, right? What if it's not the way? There's other ways. What if it's not about punishing? What if it's not about proving? What if it's about like a reward, again, reward and punishment? What if it's about awareness and letting go of control and letting go of always trying to prove you're right and trying to prove that you're truthful? And guess what? Even that is a lie, because everything is just a point of view. We'll look from different perspectives, we'll look from different judgments, and every judgment is a lie. So we are creating a different reality instead of trying to go with right and wrong, good and bad, truth and lies. What if we just be? What if we be the space? One of the antidotes to lying or to be lied to is awareness. Knowing what's true for you, knowing what actually works for, not so much true for you, but what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And a lot of times that creates a different reality. When it doesn't work for you, you might say something, or you might walk away, or you might choose something different. It's about creating something that might shift perspective. And what if we actually choose fun instead of truth? What if we choose happiness instead of lies and judgment? What if we choose gratitude? Even if they're lying, even if we are lying, even if we kind of like live in a world of lies. This is about choosing. It's about possibilities. It's about allowance. And we talk about intimacy in Access Consciousness, 5 elements. And I've done a lot of shows on that. You can always go to the archives and listen shows on intimacy. But elements of intimacy are amazing as far as shifting our perspective and allowing us to have more fun, more ease, and joy. And our show is kind of coming to the end, this show, but this is not the last one. Next week is what can we create beyond your limitation? And that ties in with today's show, the lies, because lies are the biggest limitation. So what can you create beyond your limitation? And we'll talk more about the tools of access, tools of Akashic Records, and how we can really have more joy, more ease, and more glory, which is actually a mantra of access. All of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. And saying that 10 times in the morning, 10 times in the evening, or 100 times a day, or 1,000 times a day. By the way, it sounds horrendous saying it 100 times a day, right? You know how long it takes to say mantra 100 times in a stretch? I timed it between 8 and 10 minutes. Do you have 10 minutes a day to change your life? That will be your challenge for the next week. Saying mantra, well, at least 10 times in the morning, 10 times at night, so 20 times. Or if you want a bigger challenge, 100 times a day. You can split it. If you don't have 10 minutes stretch, do 2 to 3 to 5 minutes. So maybe 10 times, 15 times, and then do another 10, 15 times rounds. And see if your life changes. And if you don't mind sending me a little note, how or what has changed for you. If nothing changed, also let me know. If it got worse, let me know that too. And let's see what we can create in our lives with everything all the tools that we are learning. And we have only a couple more minutes left in the show. Just want to remind you, next week, same time, same place, 11 o'clock. Central Standard Time, 12 o'clock Eastern Time, and you can find out more on the website of Inspired Choices Network. You can actually download Inspired Choices Network app where you can listen to all the archives. You can sign up for the show where you get the reminders about the show. Also contact me personally with emails. Well, not so much email because I don't check it every day, but Facebook Messenger, text, WhatsApp, Telegram. I have a group in Russian where I do Facebook Lives. There is also a couple of groups in Facebook. One of them is Being You Without Hiding. My personal page, my business page, Creating Abundance with Ease, my website, Creating Abundance with Ease, where you can download expansion exercise for free. There's a lot of free video, free audios on SoundCloud, on YouTube. So just Google Helen Gitlevich or Creating Abundance with Ease and you'll find me. And just a quick reminder, when you're not feeling great, just ask, who does it belong to? And all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. And we can always poke and pot, point of creation, point of distraction. There's so many ways of dealing with lies, because feeling bad is one of the biggest lies there is. If we choose space of being, there is no feeling bad. See you next week. Love you all. And don't forget the home play. All of life comes to me.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Creating Abundance with Ease radio show. Dr. Helen Gitlevich will return next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have fun using the tools of the week in your life and start creating magic in your life and your body.